First uncensored interview. My name is Mike Wallace. The cigarette is Philip Morris. New Philip Morris, probably the best natural smoke you ever tasted, presents the Mike Wallace Interview. Tonight we go after the story of a television phenomenon who was once described by the New York Times as having the voluptuous curves of a Venus, the provocative grace of a young Mae West, and the virtue of a Girl Scout. You see her behind me. She's Dagmar, television's original and most spectacular dumb blonde. If you're curious to know what Dagmar thinks of psychoanalysis, Jane Mansfield, Shakespeare, and the problems of television, we'll go after these stories in just a moment. My guests' opinions are not necessarily mine. The stations are my sponsors, Philip Morris Incorporated, but whether you agree or disagree, we feel that none will deny the right of these views to be broadcast. And we'll talk with Dagmar in just a moment. Right now, I'd like to talk to you for a minute about smoking on the job. Maybe you've noticed that most of the way through this show, I have a cigarette going. Philip Morris makes a good, natural smoke. I find it helps put me at ease, helps me to concentrate, to listen, along with you. The thing I like about Philip Morris is its mildness. We call it a man's kind of mildness because, you see, there's no filter, no fooling, no artificial mildness. There's nothing between you and the tobacco itself. That's why I like this cigarette, because it's natural smoking. And by the way, if you're spending a lot of time out of doors these days, remember to take Philip Morris along in this crush-proof box. You'll find that sun, heat, and moisture won't affect your smokes. In this crush-proof box, your last cigarette will stay as firm and fresh as your first. Good reason to get with Philip Morris. Probably the best natural smoke you ever tasted. And now to our story. 6 years ago, television introduced a sexy, offbeat personality with an intriguing name, Dagmar. Dagmar postured in low-cut gowns. She stared vacantly the way an owl does in sunlight. And in her southern drawl, she mangled the King's English like a feeble-minded Scarlett O'Hara. This calculated act 7 years ago put Dagmar into the front ranks of America's glamour girls. And speaking about television glamour girls, Dag, first of all, let me ask you this, if I may. Earlier this evening, Ed Sullivan's show featured Jane Mansfield. Steve Allen featured Jane Russell. And here you are. Dagmar,
I think you're lucky.
What's that?
I think you're very lucky.
We count ourselves lucky, too. But, Dagmar, what significance, if any, do you see in this trio?
Well, I think that sort of disputes the line that this time of year New York isn't crowded.
Do you think it's a
He's tickled. What's that?
Do you think it's a commentary on television, on American tastes in television, on summertime television or anything so?
Well, I think that Steve Allen and Ed Sullivan like to get the same type people on their shows, and that's probably why they booked both of them. Why'd you book me?
We're going to find out in the next
Are you really? You may be sorry.
I wanted to spend a quiet 25 minutes with you anyway. So
really?
Now, may I say to you...
Does it upset you when I interrupt you?
Not at all.
Okay.
Does it upset you when I ask you a question?
A lot of times it might. I'll let you know.
I want you to be serious with me for about 20 minutes tonight, if you can do it.
May give me a headache, but I'll try.
First question, and I mean this is a serious question.
Watch it, folks. This may be it.
Which do you think has been more important to you professionally? Your brains or your body?
I think you have to have a combination of both. I think you have to have brains, and I think you should have some looks. I don't like to ever brag on myself. Some people say I look nice at times, and I've even heard you say that I was witty, and I hope I don't make a liar out of you tonight.
I'm sure that you won't.
But I think you need both. I started out by just sitting, so I didn't have to use my brains.
That was on television open house?
Yes.
I mean, television, not open house.
It was Broadway open house.
Broadway open house.
Yes. That was 7 years ago. As a matter of fact, I'm 7 years old, so watch what you asked me.
You'd started out just sitting with Jerry Lester.
Yes, I just sat on a stool, and I used to read some poems and lectures and plays. So I didn't really need much brains for that. I had to use brains a little later on. I was working in nightclubs and different things. I had to use my brains. And also when I did panel shows. And I should use some brains when I'm working with you tonight. Will they'll be there or not? I don't know.
Jane, I was about to call you Jane.
Really? Who were you thinking of, dear?
Which do you think, Dagmar?
Anyone named Jane would like to sit in the seats. Lovely. What's that?
Jag?
Is this camera that... Yes, I think it is. Boys, I wish you'd move that camera back. I can't breathe. What's that? It's true. This hugs you so tight. Bless his little limbs. What were you asking me? I forgot.
I was about to ask you which was more important to Jane Mansfield, her brains or her body.
Oh, well, honestly, I think she has a lovely body, and I think her brains have been very important in her rise to fame because the little girl went out. I think she's a nice little girl. She went out and got so much publicity, and I think that helped her to get to Hollywood, and that was her life's ambition. And I'm very happy for her, and I think it definitely took brains to do that.
What's your life's ambition?
My life's ambition is finally just to rest. I'm very lazy.
Aren't you a really ambitious girl?
No, I really am ambitious. What I would like to do next, Mike, is a Broadway musical. I love to sing. I always have loved to dance. Singing was one thing I never had too much confidence in.
We'll come to that later.
Oh, you don't want to talk about that now?
Not for now.
What kind of ambition you want to talk about?
I want to stay with Dagmar, Jane Mansfield, and Jane Russell.
Oh, well, I just thought I was on the show. You'd rather talk about me.
How do you think that your appeal differs, shall we say, from Jane Mansfield's or Jane Russell's?
Well, I think being on television, it's a much friendlier medium than movies or even the Broadway stage. As a matter of fact, I think many more people would come up to me on the street and say, "Hiya, Dagmar. I didn't like that dress you were wearing last night," than they would to, say, a Jane Russell. I think it's sort of a screen between the public and movie stars. It's not as a friendly a medium. Does that make sense to you?
It makes perfectly good sense. You mean that you're also a friendlier girl, do you think, possibly, than Russell?
Well, I don't know either one of those girls. I know that Jane Mansfield's very friendly, and I heard that Jane Russell is also.
Professionally, right now, I'm told that you entertain at ballparks.
Oh, I love that.
For minor league baseball games, and you appear in nightclubs as well.
Well, no, not just minor league now. Corey Poe is the boy that produces these shows. He just called me tonight from, I think it's Niagara Falls. But what's the one right after minor before you get to major?
I don't know what you're talking
He
about.
just told me the league.
No. League?
No, there's another league after you leave the minor leagues. There's another league that you go into before you go to the majors.
That was last week.
No. Oh, he was very good, by the way. No, for instance, now, I've been started out in the minor leagues. I'm going to go to Cincinnati September 24th.
That's the major.
I know it is, but there's a league in between, and I can't forget what. Does anybody know what league that is?
If anybody needs... What's that? The International?
Yes, the International. That's it. I'm going to do a few of those before September 24th.
Well, now, that we have that all straight.
Well, I like Corey Poe, and I think he's listening, and I'm glad that we brought up his name.
The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that
you like points?
Yes.
I'm glad, yes.
And up to now, you're ahead about 6-4, I'd say.
Well, don't worry about it. You'll come out right.
You're not, though, Dag, I think you'll agree. You're not in the public eye as much, as prominently as you used to be.
No, on television, you're seen much more. When you work in nightclubs or ballparks, naturally, if there's 15,000 or 20,000 people in a ballpark, that many people see you. But on television tonight, I'm sure there's millions of people watching. I know my family alone makes 7 million people.
What happened to you in television?
In television?
Yeah.
When I left television, I started doing nightclubs. Then I started looking at scripts for other television shows. And I would rather have someone say, "What happened to Dagmar?" than have them say, "Look what happened to Dagmar doing a lousy show." And I just don't want to subject them to it. People that do like me, or used to like me, I think still do. And if I would go on and do a horrible show, I might lose their friendship and the nice letters they used to write me. And I just have been looking for a nice script, Mike, and that's why I was interested in doing your show, so I could say hello to the television audience, because I haven't done too much television lately.
Well, now look, back in January of 1956 in the Boston Evening American, a reviewer by the name of Peggy Doyle said this about you. You were starring in a show called The Amazing Adele, which died out of town. And she said, "The handsomely upholstered Dagmar is a revelation. She can sing and dance, she has a warm, captivating personality, and she's an 18-carat looker," end quote.
I think that lady's a great reviewer.
Under these circumstances, and I'm quite serious, why hasn't somebody in television found something for you? Now, television needs ideas.
I know they do. Television needs a lot right now. I really don't know, but I'd like to thank that Miss Doyle, because I did have an excellent part in that musical. And Anita Loos wrote it. It was a great book. It did need a little work. The producer didn't bring it into New York.
Well, that has nothing to do with what I asked you.
Well, I forget what you said. I was still hung up on that nice review I got.
Is there a sensible answer that you can give to what happened to you on television? To you on television?
I mean, why haven't they found it? Well, the same reason they haven't for a lot of people. Right now, for instance, a lot of the comedians aren't on television. It's mostly singers this year. And evidently, they haven't found anything for them either. I don't know why they haven't for me. I shouldn't be I could be a Masters of Ceremony. I could do a situation comedy. I really don't like film shows. I like live shows. Like this is a lot of fun tonight, because I don't know what I might say.
Dag, what do you miss most of all? now that you're not quite as big time as you were a few
Now, wait a
years
minute,
ago?
before you say quite as big time, I make 3 times as much money now as I did when I was on television.
3 times as much?
That's right.
All right.
So in your opinion, I'm just in a different medium. I'm not just in,
right.
maybe you're just thinking of television. Since I've left television, I make much more money than I did when I was on television. So I feel very happy about that. And as a matter of fact, I love what I'm doing. The only thing, as I told you, my ambition right now is to do a Broadway musical, even more than television. I like to do television once in a while so I can wave hello to my family.
Other words, no, you're being perfectly straightforward. As far as
Yes,
you're
I'm
concerned,
telling you the truth.
television
I like television.
doesn't particularly interest you for now.
I like television if they have a nice show that I can do a good job on. I hope I'm doing a good one on this one. Do you think I am?
I think that you're doing a fine job. Do you miss people, crowds, autographs, recognition? Or do you get all of that when you go around?
When I go to these towns, they meet me at the airport. When I go to the ballparks, everybody's waiting for autographs just like they did here when I was doing television. Naturally, when you got the whole studio, each night after the show, everybody's there. It's the same thing in the ballpark or in the nightclubs. I still sign pictures to the husbands. Most of the wives ask me for pictures for their husbands. As a matter of fact, 75% of my mail was mostly from women and children.
So how do you account for that?
I don't know, but I was very flattered by it, and I think that's where I've done so well in nightclubs, because the ladies don't like you. They don't let their husbands come to see you.
That's right.
I think ladies, because of the part I played. The part I played on Broadway Open House was a very dumb part, and I think if you're on 3 nights a week, like I was, they get to know you pretty well.
That's right.
I wouldn't want to do anything that hurt them. I wouldn't want their husbands.
You know, talking about Broadway Open House, this past week we spoke with Jerry Lester, long distance, who's
How
down in
is he?
Miami. He's fine and sends you his love.
Thank you.
He's the fellow who really did give you your first big
That's
break
right,
in
he certainly
television.
did.
Now, he's in kind of semi-retirement now, and he told us this on the phone from Miami. He said, what do I need a regular TV show for? With me, life comes first, career second. But most of the top stars in television are different, he said. They're like children. They have no other love, no other interest, and little understanding of anything except their job. They would die if you took their work and acclaim away from them. And then he went on, he said, Dagmar is pretty much the same. Ambitious with a double A. Now,
He should have known me a little better than that. I like life better than I like a career. I like a good time. I'm glad that Joey has such a wonderful time, and he does. He loves to swim. He stays tan. I do know certain entertainers that feel they must be on all the time. I don't. I just like to make money enough to help my family and do things. I enjoy show business, but being married and having a life to me is much more important than even being in show business. It always has been.
do you think it's true with other people generally in show business?
I think some people are like that. There are some hands in show business that must be on all the time.
You've been married to Danny Dayton, an actor, for about 6 years now.
That's
haven't
right. We have. And we've never let our career interfere with our marriage.
So why haven't you really settled down and tried to raise a family then?
I want to have a family eventually. Now, I come from a family of 7 children,
I know that you do.
and I've always tried to take care of my brothers and sisters, and I wanted to see if they were all through school and everything, then I could sit down and have a family of my own. I feel I've had one family. Now I have another family. Danny and I do want a family. I don't know exactly when we're going to have it, maybe in the next year or two. I don't know when. But I'm not in a hurry because I'm such a young girl.
How old are you, Dad?
I always lie. There's no point asking me, really. I always lie about my age. I think all ladies like to fib, don't you, ladies? But I will tell you this.
Well,
Coming from the family of 7, I started out the oldest of 7 children.
Yeah.
Now 4 of them are older than I am. One of my sisters said I'll be crawling in a year now.
Dad, do you think you'd make a good mother?
I think I'd be an excellent mother. I think I'd be almost too strict. I don't want to be, but I have this little toy poodle that I'm madly in love with. I'm just crazy about him. His name is Shakespeare. You said that's what we're going to talk about, Shakespeare. I took it for granted it was my Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had Shakespeare for 4 years, and people say to me, Dagmar, for heaven's sakes, you're so crazy about him. If you have a child, what will you do? I said, probably put him in a glass cage. Because if he coughs, I call the doctor. I want to faint.
You think you'd be a good mother?
I know I'd be a good mother.
Is it because of the fact
I'd
that
like
you...
to drink a water. Pardon me a
By all
minute. I hate
means.
people do this on television, but I have to.
I'll talk to you for a while you drink and swallow.
What are we talking about?
We were
About me
talking
being a
about
good mother.
you and... Will you be a good mother because your mother was such a good mother?
My mother's a wonderful mother. I think that most girls are good mothers, Mike. It's just a natural instinct.
Well, we could get off on juvenile delinquency, and we're told
Oh,
that
that's such a
because of
serious
bad
thing.
mothers and fathers that there is so much. But let's stay
Yeah,
away
that's such a sad thing, that whole thing. Juvenile, I feel so sorry for the children and the parents, because they needed somebody to help all of them. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. Do you want to continue with that?
No, let's go ahead to something else, and if you don't like that, we'll go back to this.
All right. Dan, television, show business in general, is a tough, nerve-wracking affair. And perhaps for that reason, a good number of people working in show business are under psychoanalysis. Have you ever?
No, I never had the time and patience for that, Mike. I know a little bit about it. A lot of people go, but you have to make appointments. And I really don't know like to know what I'm going to do the next day. I don't even like to do it for my beauty appointments, you know? If I was going to be psychoanalyzed, I'm thinking of taking an awful long time. I pity the poor doctor. But you'd have to go there and make appointments, and I just, so far, no one told me I had to do it. Do you think I should?
No, not
Thank you. That saved me from going to the doctor.
What do you think of psychoanalysis for...
Have you ever been psychoanalyzed?
No, never have.
Maybe we both should go. And you're very smart, bless your little mind. That kind of boy's tickled.
What about psychoanalysis for other people? You've talked about it with some of your show business friends, Dagmar.
Some of them have told me it helped them quite a bit. I know one boy that used to cough a lot on television.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't coughed nearly as much lately. He's off the air now. He's not on the air now, but it did help him.
What about
I
tranquilizers?
want all doctors to make money. Tranquilizers, I think they're wonderful.
You think tranquilizer pills are wonderful?
I really do, but...
You take them yourself?
Yes, I do, but I don't ever think that anyone should take a pill without a doctor's prescription. I don't ever tell anyone to take a tranquilizer. I myself am sort of high-strung and worry about a lot of things. I guess you'd call me a worrywart at times.
You're a worrywart?
Yes. I don't know how to explain it, but it sounded good when I said it. I'm sorry I said it, forget about it. I'm a worrywart and forget it.
Now, wait.
Oh, you want to talk about a worrywart?
Well, you seem to be a fairly placid, good-humored, sensible person. You're a worrywart.
No, I do worry about a lot of things, like I worried about what I was going to wear on your show tonight. I don't like arms on television, for instance. I think they make a lady look like a wrestler. And I was looking for a dress with sleeves, and I was very proud of myself to find this
I know,
tonight.
but that isn't very much to worry.
No, but I mean little worries. But anyway, I was sort of nervous, and I went to the doctor, and he gave me some tranquilizers. And I did feel wonderful when I took them. It was very relaxing. But I don't suggest anybody do it unless their doctor tells them to. I think my mother's nervous. She's watching now. She'll probably whip me when I get home. But I told her, I said, Mother, I think if you take a few tranquilizers, you'd feel better. I told her to go to the doctor, though. I wouldn't give her any pills.
And did she?
Well, she's supposed to go this week, and I'm going to call right after the show to see if they think you were charming to me.
Jag, critics have charged that this past television season has been somewhat less than distinguished. What do you think is wrong with television, if you think that anything is wrong with television?
I think there's a lot. When it started out in television, it seemed to me that everybody went out after just good shows. Now they're all trying to do film shows. They're thinking about how good the show is going to be 10 years from now so they can get residuals, instead of about how the show is right today. And I don't enjoy television as much as I used to, because I really like live shows, just like we're doing now. If we make a mistake so everybody knows we did, you know? But on a film show, they can cut it out and put something else in, and I think there's too much film shows on television.
You watch a lot of it?
I watch a lot, and I really enjoy the old movies better than anything else.
Who do you like who isn't on film, or who is on film, but it's a half-hour television show made for television? Who are your favorite television people?
Well, I like Danny Thomas. I've always liked Danny Thomas, and he has a film show, and I can't really think right now.
You watch Sullivan or Allen?
I watch them both. I have two sets. I put them both on, and if something's on I want to see, I watch in one room. That's what I mean about making you nervous. Then you have to go from room to room. That's no good, honey.
How do you explain the popularity of the scatterbrained characterization of women on television, like Lucille Ball or Gracie Allen or Dagmar, for instance?
Oh, you mean, why do you think people like that kind of... They like it because it's silly and it's not serious, and that's why I was hoping you wouldn't ask me too many serious questions tonight, because I think everybody has so much seriousness in their life. They want to have a few laughs, and I don't know, I get a big kick out of Lucille Ball and Gracie Allen, and I hope I didn't have the kind of scripts they have. Mine are just little poems and things, but I'd like to play a part like that. I'd rather, I think, play a dumb part.
Dag, I hate to go serious on you again, but according to an article called What Men Really Think of Women in Red Book magazine back in January of 1953, an article by John Gibson, it said, studies show that on the whole, men are attracted to women to whom they can feel intellectually superior. The average male shies away from girls whom he suspects of having as many or more brains than he has.
I've never had that problem.
What about your husband, Danny? Is he a much smarter fellow than you?
Yes, he is.
You genuinely believe this?
I genuinely believe that. I think Danny has got a very good mind. I think I have common sense. And I think Danny has common sense, and he was very well educated. His mother's listening tonight and should be proud of that, because I imagine she spent a lot of money on his education.
Are you a well-educated person?
Pretty much so. I graduated high school. I went to business college at night. But I've always worked all my life, Mike. Ever since I was a little girl, I've worked.
According to Look magazine back in '51, January 16th, you are, quote, an avid reader who hates being called an intellectual idiot. What do you read?
What do I read? Now, wait a minute. When you say intellectual idiot, that sounds so cute last week when you announced it.
Yeah.
Define that for me.
An intellectual idiot?
Yes.
Well, you hate to be called an intellectual idiot. In other words, evidently you don't like to be called dumb.
Yes, I do. I think it's fun.
About things that are academic, not about your television characterization, but about yourself. You don't like to be called dumb. I'm told that the shelves of your library at home are lined with works by Goethe, Shakespeare, Kipling, William Faulkner. Do you read all of these people?
Not all of them. I read a few, but I'll tell you my favorite is Earl Stanley Garner's Perry Mason.
That's the kind of stuff that you like best.
No, well, I usually don't have time to read until I'm in bed in the evening after television is off, and I like mysteries. I love Danny Main.
What do you
but
think
I don't
of
want to do a whole publisher's things on books.
What do you think of Shakespeare?
Well, I adore Shakespeare. I told you I like him better than anybody. I just think he's the cutest thing in the world. He only weighs 4 pounds.
Dang, in a moment I'm going to...
I know he thought I was going to talk about the books.
In a moment I'd like to get your opinion on something written by the social critic H.L. Mencken, who had serious reservations when it came to women. He once wrote as follows, and listen carefully, this is a tough one. Mencken said, the female body is very defective in form. It has harsh curves and very clumsily distributed masses. Compared to it, the average milk jug or even cuspidor is a thing of intelligent and gratifying design. Below the neck by the bow and below the waist astern, there are 2 masses that simply refuse to fit into a balanced composition. I'd like to know your opinion of that charge by H.L. Mencken. No. We will get Dagmar's answer in just about 60 seconds.
Seems to be some excitement here. Something very special. A new colt and the pride of the stable. Here's something else that's new. Philip Morris. You know the minute you try one, Philip Morris tastes natural, and that's good. Smokers like it. There's a man's kind of mildness here, too, and that's good. No filter, no fooling. Nothing artificial between you and the tobacco itself. The box is practical. It's crush-proof, and that's all to the good. Now you have 3 good reasons to get with Philip Morris. Natural taste, man's kind of mildness, crush-proof box. Have you smoked one lately? Get with it. Get with Philip Morris, probably the best natural smoke you ever tasted.
Get with Philip Morris and regular pack or crush-proof box, probably the best natural smoke, pardon me, you ever tasted.
Better watch your addiction on commercials.
Now, Dag, for your reaction to this Mencken quote, shall I do it for you again?
If you'd like to. It was such a horrible thing. I'd like to hear it again.
The female body is defective in form. It has harsh curves and clumsily distributed masses. Compared to it, the average milk jug or even cuspidor is a thing of intelligent and gratifying design. Below the neck by the bow and below the waist astern, there are 2 masses that simply refuse to fit into a balanced composition. What about it?
I think that fellow is definitely a bottle baby. He must have led a very lonely life. That's all I can say for him.
That is your total comment on Mr. Mencken.
Well, I think to be normal, you should like women. If you're a man, that is. I don't know what his excuse was.
Quite seriously.
Well, I'm serious.
Are you devoted, and I'm talking about this in a purely aesthetic fashion now, to exaggerated female figures or slimmer female figures? Now, you were born with...
You're very observant.
But I'm just talking about...
Well, I don't care where you are, but it sounded lovely. Keep going, honey. He's really a nice fellow. This is not a hot seat. It's not even warm. Well, somebody back there's just giggling.
I think you know what I mean. Shall I go on to it?
Well, I think I get a little bit of what you want. Certain men like slim girls, and some like them...
I'm talking about you. Do you like slim girls or big girls?
Well, my family thinks I'm the cat's meow, so I think I'm all right the way I am.
All right.
No, I don't like to be fat, and I do have to watch my weight. I go on diets about every 6 months.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about that for a while? What is your diet?
It's a horrible diet.
Is it really?
Yes. I'm an extremist that way. I'd rather not eat very much for 2 weeks and have fun for 6 months than to diet all the time.
And when you do it?
And when I do it, I never go off the diet.
I thought possibly that you'd like to tell the ladies.
Well, I would, but I don't think it's very healthy for them.
Really?
I will tell you what I do. I get up and have coffee in the morning. In the afternoon, I have 2 poached eggs on a piece of dry toast.
Mm-hmm.
At night, I have, see what he just waved his little finger? At night, I have meat and tomatoes, but I don't think that's a healthy diet. No doctor gave it to me. I just made it up myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think I have to take a tranquilizer eventually.
And you lose how much at a time?
I lose 10 pounds in a week.
Oh, my. And you stay on it for how long?
I stay on it 2 weeks. I lose 10 pounds the first week and about 3 the next. Then I have fun again for 6 months.
Dag, you know that occasionally on this program we ask for capsule opinions about things. We have about a minute and a half left.
See where the time go to.
And it was so entertaining, I thank you.
Thank you. You were very nice. You really behaved yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. What do you think about income taxes?
Oh, I wish they'd forget about the whole thing.
That's it completely.
I really do. It just takes so much money. I wish they could figure out a better way. Boys, I wish you'd try to figure it out.
Astrology.
I love astrology.
What's your sign?
I'm Sagittarius.
How long does it, how seriously do you take it?
Well, I read it today and it told me to keep my mouth shut, and I really didn't listen to it. I do like it. I read it every day. I think sometimes it gives you a lift.
What's your husband Danny's sign?
Scorpio.
Is Sagittarius and Scorpio a good mixture?
Must be. We've been married 6 years and we're very happy.
Dag, do you think a girl should go to college?
Yes, if she has a chance, I definitely do.
Why?
Well, I think the more you learn, the better equipped you are for life. My younger sister right now is in college, and she's the only one. All my brothers have gone to college. My brother Jack is in law school now. He's a very brilliant boy.
What do you think of women wrestlers?
I don't think they don't look very nice.
Are you afraid of mice?
Yes.
I'm
And I'm bigger than they are, too. I know, I don't like them.
Bachelors.
I don't think they should wait too long. I know a boy that waited so long for his ship to come in, his spear collapsed. Bachelors, get with it.
We were looking for a closing line, and we found it, and
Was
I
that it?
thank you very much, Dagmar.
Thank you. You've been most charming, and goodbye, everybody.
Dagmar has fashioned a career out of being beautiful but dumb. She has been heard to say, I was past 20 when I learned about the bees and the flowers. But Dagmar adds slyly, of course, long before that, when I was 7 or 8, I learned about people. Probably the best natural smoke I ever taste is this one, the one right after the interview every Sunday night. This is when I relax, and this is a great taste to relax with. It's natural. And I like the man's kind of mildness in this Philip Morris. There's no filter, no fooling, nothing artificial between you and the tobacco itself. I think when you try Philip Morris, you'll feel pretty much the same as I do. Probably the best natural smoke you ever tasted, Philip Morris. Next week, we go after the story of a left-wing labor leader who's been called a menace to both American capital and labor. You see him behind me. He's the boss of the West Coast longshoreman, Harry Bridges, who has beaten 5 U.S. government attempts to deport him as a communist alien. If you're curious to know why Harry Bridges attacks labor leaders like George Meany and Walter Reuther, and why he defends Jimmy Hoffa, if you'd like to know how Harry Bridges envisions a coast-to-coast union combine that could paralyze the entire nation with a strike, and if you'd like to hear why he has sometimes criticized the FBI and sometimes defended some of the evils of Soviet Russia, we'll go after these stories next week. Till then, for Philip Morris, Mike Wallace, good night.
The Mike Wallace interview is brought to you by Philip Morris Incorporated, the Quality House.